Hi, this is Isabel Litzler. So this is the last video of the 3-video series to boost your career and get you to the next level for next year. So how to start a business in Switzerland in 12 weeks. So the content of this video will be around is business creation right for you? What value do you have to offer in terms of business creation? How do you get started and how do you move forward? So is business creation right for me? This is always the question that you need to figure out. So I put together a few points that I think will help you because it has helped me. I had the idea of my business already many years ago, but I wasn't in the right situation. Now, of course, you have different opinions on the topic. Some people will say there's no such thing as a right time, it's whenever you want. There's this big encouragement right now to have people launch their own business. But I think, again, having your own business is not so easy. It takes a lot of self-discipline, I would say. And especially if you have other things going on in your life, it can be complicated. So that's why I have you think about your situation. Do you have many loans and debt right now? Do you need to be the main income earner? If you have no network and no potential clients already identified, you're going to have to start from scratch there. Do you like to have your holidays, your comfort of a salaried job? So these are just, again, food for thought. Where do you stand there? I would either spend more time with a coach or with your network, get more feedback. So if you're in those situations, it's a little bit of a stretch. So if you can identify with those, you can click yes basically to these above statements. Probably you're not ready. That would be my opinion. And again, there's nothing wrong. Maybe in a couple of years you pay off your loans. Maybe you're not the main income earner anymore. You have a good network. Then I would say you're probably better positioned. So this is what I mean. You're free to do as you wish. Your personal situation does not require you to be the main income earner. You've been waiting to launch your ideas. You have identified potential clients. This is usually how people start. And you will open a business in something you know very well. Again, I insist on this last portion because I had clients who thought that you could go and maybe, people tend to think, well, I'm just the managing director or the CEO of a business, for example. I don't know anything about the business, but it's okay because I will have people under me who know it very well. It's a little bit dangerous in my view because how are you going to know if people are doing a good job if you don't know what the step-by-step of the process is? So people can tell you anything and you will just have to go with their word, which is a little bit dangerous. So I think for the credibility part, for also to avoid having bad experiences, I would say it's better to be in a business that you know very well. And to avoid getting into niches or places where you don't really know how it works, and it's going to be a huge learning curve for you. I always say start with something that makes sense. So the reality of business creation is that it's very few hours free in reality, especially when you're trying to get the business up to speed. But I would say if you're an entrepreneur anyways, you always have ideas, you always have things you want to develop, so you rarely have time down basically. It is many responsibilities, even though you may subcontract work and partnerships and all that, you're still the main person responsible. You may not get income right away, so it takes time to build up the credibility again and to have paying clients and all that. So a lot of, especially if you're in a startup mode, it would take maybe sometimes a few years to get money. So it's complicated. Business plan can take a long time to be ready. So you may try also different business models at the beginning. And if you need investments, especially again, if you go the startup route where you really want to create something big that requires investments, it will take even longer. You have to be very focused and self-motivated. I would say those two skills, if you don't have those, you will be struggling a little bit because no one is there to tell you which direction to go. And even if you do work with a coach, and you have meetups once in a while, they can be behind you every step of the way. So that's going to be for me a huge part. You have to be ready to drop time off with friends and family. So again, put that in your mind. Are you willing right now to sacrifice? And it's something that is not necessarily out there in the media or when we talk about entrepreneurship. It's all like, oh, it's great and have this lifestyle. it comes with a price tag. So you can't have excellence, you can't have the business that you want with the quality that you want and grow it without sacrificing weekends or evenings. And I don't know anyone who can do it, who can not sacrifice. So just be aware of that. What value do you have to offer to the world? So your business idea is where it starts. So again, I put certain coaches. I can't even name somebody, but some people would pretend that you can start a business with no income and become rich. I would say probably now with YouTubers, they talk about drop shipping, and some models don't require a lot of investment. It's true. I mean, a YouTube channel, you can start from scratch, but it's limited. I mean, even if you are starting your YouTube channel, you do need to have good equipment, a computer, you will need to do a bit of promotion, etc. So this is not entirely true when people say it's zero cost. It's never zero cost. It's always a little bit of a cost. And you also need a good business model. You need to find a way to make money. You need a client base. You need expertise because many people are doing the same thing you're doing. And I think, in my opinion, too many people go into businesses they know nothing about, especially trends. So, oh yeah, there's this trend, so I'm going to get into it. So I think you're the best in the field that you're very good at. It doesn't mean that later on you can't maybe start partnering with people and developing things, but again, with caution there. So have people help. I would say if you're in the situation now where you're ready to launch your business, I would say try to surround yourself. This is probably something I had a very hard, and I still to some extent have a hard time doing, is surrounding myself. I'm very much someone who likes to know everything from the beginning to the end and have control of everything. So, surrounding yourself at some point is good. You can start little, but if you want to build a business seriously, you need help from other professionals. So it all depends on what you want, basically. If you're looking for a solopreneur consultancy like myself, for example, coaching business consultancy, or you're an interior designer, image coach, whatever, it's okay. You can work alone. Maybe, sometimes get help from other consultants. But if you're looking to build a startup, for example, then at some point you will need more support. So what are your strengths? In your business, you will need to build on your strength. Again, this is what I recommend, is start with what you're good at. So identify your strengths and weaknesses. If you have weaknesses, and I know I do, for example, just have somebody do this work for you. So if your weakness is accounting, for example, or reporting or things like that, you can always have someone do this for you. But as a solopreneur, you need to know where the ship is going. That's your main objective. You only have one objective, is know where you're going, where you're headed, and check regularly to make sure you're on path. If you start spending too much time on details and things you're not supposed to do, you're not in the right track. So it's okay to start as a freelancer, and then build a business to have objectives and targets, and maybe move more towards the having a business. So I could recommend you to read Robert Kiyosaki with the quadrant, where you start as an employee, then you move into freelancer. And this is basically what most people do in my experience. So you start with employee, then you move to freelancer, then you move to having a business, and then finally you're an investor. So it's the 4 quadrants, he calls that. So you start freelancing, you get clients, you get money, then you maybe build something bigger, and then you can invest. So how do I get started? First thing is to identify how much money you have to get started, because again, I'm listing here things that people don't necessarily take into account. You need a computer, a website if you're doing e-commerce especially, and it's never zero cost. Even if you go through Shopify or something like that, there's always a price. You can start with Facebook, but it's limited. You will need printer, you will need business cards, office rentals potentially, depending on the work you do, dressing, a car if you're traveling. Then you have expenses around travel if you're a consultant. So all that is part of the money you need to function. Then the other thing you need is support. If you're going to open your own business, you will need a family that's embracing the project with you. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. Especially I'm thinking about wife, husband type of thing. You need to think about how your project is going to fit in the lifestyle. So if you have someone who works 6-figure salary and then you're starting your venture, your freelancing or what have you, how is that going to affect how you travel, how you take your holidays, etc. And just be aware that you will not get up to speed immediately. So most business owners take years to really start seeing a return on investment. So, and I'm talking more there about business owners, entrepreneurs, people who are building startups. Sometimes it is a sacrifice and it takes some time. So just be aware of that. Other less close support, less, I would say more than family, supports would be like the chambers of commerce, the career coaches, the professional association, colleagues working in the field you target. And again, I could not insist, this is the same thing I said before, ask questions, especially if you're not sure. You want to start a business, but you're not sure if you're going to like it, you're not sure if it's right for you. I remember a professional who did a little survey and she realized that she wasn't going to make a lot of money, and she realized, wow, this is a huge change from her salary she had before. So it's the reality of it. You're not going to make huge amounts of money, especially the first years, unless you're going into a field where there's high earning potential and you're just getting at the right time in the market. So it happens, but it's not immediate. How do I move forward? So my recommendation to move your project forward in business creation would be to build a small fund aside. So right now, if you're saying, well, I'm not quite ready yet in terms of funding, build the funding now. So if you're working, set a bit of money aside for hard times to cover expenses, at least the first couple of years. If you're still working, invest, in your project. And if you have no savings, I would say it's worth going to take a job right now to save the money so you can start your business without stress. Because again, starting a business with zero would be a very huge, what's going to happen is that it's going to be very stressful. Then people are going to sense that when they meet with you. So it's going to put pressure on them too. They're less likely to work with you. The other consequence is that you may get yourself in a situation where you cannot pay your bills and then you go out of business because of treasury issue. So if you have a bit of treasury aside, that's going to cover for the rainy days. And again, the market is unpredictable, so could do well for a couple of months, not so well after, etc. The copyright issues, if you have an invention or innovation, I would say talk to people like myself, career specialists. We're not going to steal your ideas, but it's just to make sure that you are doing the proper filing for it with the intellectual property office, etc. Product licensing. I would say if it's digital products, I would not even worry about it because anything can be very easily copied anyway. So I wouldn't waste time on trying to protect something online. The plan, you need a plan. So you need some type of plan, especially around business model. So the first thing you need to do is to get your idea to the market. You want to test it. You want to see if you get clients. You want to see if it's going well, then maybe change something. And don't be afraid to just start from scratch again. Maybe you start 2 or 3 things that don't work and the 4th thing works. So market is very unpredictable. Again, you may find someone who's done a certain project, it worked well, you try to do it and it doesn't work. It's happening. So I hope these tips were helpful in trying to figure out if business creation is right for you, if it could be an opportunity for you in Switzerland. If you want to talk more about it and your project, especially in your particular case, book a call with me. I will have the link below so you can book the call. Feel free to like and share the video and join the channel. Happy to have you belong to the community and comment. And I look forward to talk to you soon.